always hope that Mr. Potter will always be around to save the day.
Welcome to the Drag Malfoy podcast, made by the fans for the fans,
where we talk about fan films, fictions, and theories.
My name is Ivy.
And my name is Baron LeVay, and we are the Drag Malfoys.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to episode 8. Is it 8?
I have no idea.
7 or 8? Really? Oh, it's 8. I'm sure it's 8. Yeah. We'll
Yes.
see. We're going to say episode 8. If we got it wrong, you know. So last week we were talking about Muggles and the Dursleys. And this week we're on the very exciting topic of Dumbledore and Grindelwald.
So, folks, I'm going to get a lot of, you're not a real fan here. After the last book, I have no interest in learning anymore.
Fair.
Like, I have not read. We have the Fantastic Beasts book at home.
Yeah.
I've not touched it. I've not seen either of those new films. I couldn't even name them.
I mean,
Crimes of Grindelwald, is that one of them?
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is the first one.
Right.
And then Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Crimes of Grindelwald is the second one.
Okay, so that's about as much as I know, and Johnny Depp, because he's fit.
And Johnny Depp, yeah. I've seen both of them. I've only seen the second one once, so I have forgotten, as what happens with old age. What happens in them. I all I know is that Queenie goes bad, I think. I don't know. May have to watch it again, but illegally, because, you know, and not only is J.K. Rowling trash, turns out Eddie Redmayne is as well, so...
Boo, Eddie Redmayne, he's not important to me, I don't know.
we don't care about him anyway. He made that god-awful The Danish Girl film. The Danish Girl, and he played the Danish Girl.
I have no idea what that is.
It's Eddie Redmayne played a trans woman.
Oh. Why didn't they get a trans woman?
Exactly, right?
Oh. That's a shame.
It is a shame, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah. Stupid.
So yeah, I know nothing. So we've watched a fan film, we've read a fan fiction, and I've been completely clueless throughout.
I'm gonna be here for the information provider. So, Fantastic Beasts, the book, is actually like a classroom book.
Yes.
So it's more, you don't really get any form of the story that is told in the films. It's just mainly a book that the Hogwarts students would actually read.
Yes.
It's got little creatures in it. It's cute.
Okay.
I have read that one. Yeah, but I don't know where it is. It's somewhere.
So all I know about Grindelwald and Dumbledore is what is in the original franchise.
Ah, okay.
That's literally all I know.
Excellent.
And I only know vague amounts of that because I don't really remember much. Because again, you know,
Yeah,
old age.
I mean,
I know what I've seen people do on TikTok, so I have a vague idea of what might be happening, unless that's just like complete AU. But
I mean, it's not confirmed what people do with Grindelwald on TikTok, but TikTok. What people do with Grindelwald and Dumbledore. It is confirmed that they were somewhat lovers.
what was it?
But it's not confirmed.
JK actually wrote that?
She didn't wrote it, she said it.
Oh, right, okay.
So that was probably her being like, I'm not homophobic. Dumbledore's gay for this person.
Yes, yes.
Which is, you know, I love that. I don't. But yeah, that is what we're working with today.
Yes, I can't wait. Shall we talk about the fan film?
Yes, we shall. So the fan film is called Dumbledore and Grindelwald, The Greater Good.
It's all about that greater good.
It's for the greater good. It is a really, really good film.
I really enjoyed it.
Very much enjoyed it. The CGI was on point. The smells were amazing. The acting was actually decent as well.
It was, yeah.
So we'll start off with some little aesthetic shots of a beach. And it's a very, very pretty beach. How they managed to clear it on a sunny day is beyond me.
It looks like South Shields.
It does look like Marsden, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Which is it is the perfect setting for this film. Unless I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
wouldn't know.
I mean, there's nothing really said or confirmed, but I just quite like the idea of a big battle happening on a beach.
Yeah, cute, yeah.
So, you know. So, yeah, if they'd found a secret beach, then great. But unless they'd bought it out and they had, like, people operating being like, you can't go in here, like
Yeah.
proper film sets where they
Yeah.
have people stopping them and you're like, you can't, sorry. So that was my first thought, was like, how did they manage to find an empty beach? But we see 4 bodies apparate in a shot on the sand. All of them are unconscious and they start to wake up, coughing, etc. All of that. I'm waking up moment from something that they just came from. I was wondering where that came from. Maybe
Yeah.
a fight.
But I feel like maybe that's where the fan fiction comes in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it does. This film and the fan fiction does tie in quite nicely.
Yeah.
And so there are some close-ups of each one, 3 men and a girl, and I'm guessing the one dressed in all black is Grindelwald, because evil.
Yeah. I assumed.
Yes. My thoughts are currently, when I was watching it, obviously I know now, having watched it, my thoughts are that the girl is Ariana, Dumbledore's sister, and then we have Aberforth, and Albus, and Grindelwald. And I am correct. We find out moments later.
Of course.
Ariana was the one to bring the 4 of them to the beach. Possibly there was a big fight beforehand and Ariana got involved and brought them to this place to try and stop the fighting. We're really unsure. It doesn't really give much away apart from Grindelwald being like, what's so special about this place? And he seems quite angry. At the same time, Aberforth is, of course, very protective of his little sister and has her held by the shoulders, sitting upright and telling both Albus and Grindelwald that you're the reason that she's more unstable.
Yes.
So...
And I mean, she does come across pretty crazy.
She does come across like that.
Yeah.
As you do find out a little bit later on in the film. And Grindelwald replies to Aberforth, I don't care about you or your sister. It was never part of the plan.
Oh.
So that was just a big blow, wasn't it? Aberforth was trying to make everyone feel guilty and Grindelwald's like, don't care, mate. Like,
Yeah. Don't give a shit.
do whatever you want. Albus then admits that it is between the 2 of them and tells Aberforth to take Ari away to safety. But all Aberforth wants to do is go home.
Yes.
And that, when he said something about wanting to go home, all that came to mind was, the TikTok where he's like, why do you want to go home, Jane?
Yes.
Are you on drugs? Are you fucking on drugs? Why do I want to go home? That
Yeah.
is the TikTok that came to mind. And I
Pretty
was
good.
like, brilliant. So then he takes Ari and moves her across the beach and behind some rocks, where it is apparently safe. And
Gotta love those rocks that can block out the magic.
well, they don't.
No, they don't.
In the end, you're like,
Spoilers!
oh, spoilers. So then Grindelwald and Albus, too many A's. It's like, have you ever seen that really shit show called 19 Kids and Counting?
No.
And all of the 19 kids are named with the letter J.
I mean, you're selling it to us.
It's brilliant. I mean, the dad got done for paedophilia, but
Okay.
yeah. So Grindelwald then talks to Albus and he goes, I will not change our plans for your sister. And Albus replies, she's my family. And then Grindelwald is, since when have you cared about your family? And then Albus replies, you're right. Our ambitions have become distracting. And then Grindelwald goes, and what? Our ambitions are no longer worthy. And then Albus goes, I no longer find the Muggles to be below us as you do.
Oofed.
Which was a really, really good moment. I enjoyed
Yeah.
that because it kind of shows that Albus has had that mindset in the past, which doesn't surprise us
No.
at all, and now doesn't. But what changed?
Yeah.
I was like, possibly was it Ariana going a bit like crazy? As much as he doesn't care for his family, it does say it is canon, I believe, that he did care for his sister. I think she died at the age of like 13. She was very, very young.
Yeah.
Grindelwald has it in his mind that wizards are meant to rule the entire world and take over.
Mood.
Yeah, literally. And then Albus goes, to rule the Muggles would be no different to how the British Muggles rule over India.
Yes.
Fucking love it when
Yes.
they put history in this thing and like in
Yeah.
these types of things,
Yeah.
because it just shows that they've actually been really, really clever about it.
Yeah.
They've sat down, thought about it, thought about the time setting, thought about what's going on outside of the wizarding world.
Yeah.
That obviously Dumbledore would know about,
Absolutely.
and that just makes us really, really
She's
happy.
fully like crushing over this moment.
I'm like, oh, I'm such a history like geek. I'm like, get in. So after this lovely little moment, the camera pans back to Aberforth and Ariana, and Aberforth tells her that he's going to stop the fighting, and she replies with, "I want to be safe." He reassures her that they will, and they will, and when they'll stop, when they stop fighting, and she calls over the rock, "No,
Stop
more,
fighting!
Stop fighting! No more fighting!" And then asks after their mother, who I assume is dead.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, because Aberforth then goes, "Oh, she's gone," and then Ariana replies with, "When will I see her again?" And then Aberforth says, "I don't know." So, I think he knows she's dead. I think secretly Ariana knows that she's dead.
Yeah, it's whether or not she's accepted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she hasn't got past maybe that first stage of grief. We don't know yet.
Maybe that's why she's crazy.
Possibly. So she repeats herself again. She says again, "I want to be safe." And Aberforth tells her that he will be right back after he leaves to help stop this. So he leaves and goes running across the beach.
Baywatch moment.
There's a little Baywatch moment. There is a Baywatch moment in there at some point.
Oh no, that's not Baywatch, is it?
No.
No.
That is, oh god, what is that?
What is that?
I don't know. Oh, it's the race.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Yes. We've done that.
We've done that. For anyone who doesn't know, we did that on stage at a Pride fundraiser event as a little piss take. It was really fun.
Yes.
Then we kind of learned that Ariana seemed to have an encounter with Muggles. Not too sure how old she was at the time. It does say that she was young, which was based off fear and hatred, which is why she is the way she is, as Grindelwald has put it. And that it wasn't their fault, according to Grindelwald.
I've remembered what it is. I'll be ready.
Pamela Anderson just running across the beach in slow motion.
It was bugging me. I was running through the song.
You were like, I need to know. The viewers need to know. Pamela Anderson running across the beach.
Yes.
While these spells are going across.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
But yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, according to Grindelwald, or Albus, I forgot who it wasn't their fault, they weren't paying attention. So it must have been when she was really, really young.
Yeah.
And she was starting to show magic. Aberforth then joins in and starts to shade Grindelwald.
Yeah.
He's just like,
throwing shade.
"You're a weak little bitch." He didn't say it like that, but you know.
Pretty much.
All the names under the sun. Albus tells him to stop. And Grindelwald replies with, here's where I was like, oh. He goes, "No, go on, little one." And I was like,
Ooh,
oh.
Daddy issues.
The little 3 emojis that I put. If anyone know, the little emojis that I've put up is the red face ones with a little sweat mark with the little tongue sticking out, like, huh.
Like a panting dog.
Yeah, that is literally what it is. So Aberforth continues to shade him. He's like, "You're weak, you can't love anyone." And Albus then tells him to stop again. And Grindelwald says, "No, he's right. I know nothing of love. It's a fleeting distraction."
Oh.
You can hear Albus's heart break through the screen. I was just like, oh, that's a low blow. But basically, I kind of gathered that Grindelwald has just used Albus's sexuality to get what he wants.
Yeah.
To find the Deathly Hallows and become the Masters of Death.
Oofed.
That's what they wanted to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
Grindelwald then says to Albus, "Your love is blind to the greater good."
All about that greater good.
I love it when they get the film title in there somewhere.
Yes.
And you're like, oh. It's like when, you know, like in a movie where it says the film title.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Always.
Here for that. Yeah, I wrote oofed in
Oofed.
big capital letters. That was my thing. And then Aberforth asks what he means by that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think Dumbledore's like out.
No.
But Albus then goes, I will no longer be a part of your plans. Be on your way. So Aberforth wants to kill him, but Albus wants to let him go.
You do strange things for love.
I mean, fair, yeah. I was like, despite his intentions and how many innocent people will have to die because you love him, I was like, okay. Love does make you do strange things, but...
It does, but maybe that's why Albus ended up so fucking hideously bitter and awful.
Oh, yeah. Like, he's like, I was played once.
Yeah.
Never again.
So I'm just going to play everyone else?
I mean, yeah, maybe this is the intervention that we needed to realise Dumbledore's manipulative behaviour.
Yeah.
And then Grindelwald starts reaching for his wand, because clearly he's after a fight, because Albus is like willing to let him go, but Grindelwald's like, no, we're going to have a fight. He's reaching for his wand, draws it. Albus follows through, but Albus doesn't, until Aberforth is getting crucioed.
That bit annoyed me because there were so many amazing CGI moments, and then he just went crucio and there was no CGI and he just went
Yeah,
it was just a bit like
there could have been a little flash, you
Okay.
know. There could have been a little flash.
Yeah.
Literally anything. But then Albus does get involved and shoots him back into the distance, into the sea.
yeah.
And I was like, that is a lovely chef's kiss moment.
Yeah. These effects coming up were absolutely insanely wonderful.
Yeah, I think from the very start, it's I can always gauge how good a film is
Yeah.
on the aberration
Yeah.
CGI, but then it's fully made with the spells.
Yes.
And then a fight is broken out, dramatic music ensues, and
It's really good music actually.
it is actually
Really
very,
good.
very good. As spells are shot and Albus is thrown in the air, but like as it is, it's like a
Yeah,
like one of
yeah.
those moments
Yeah.
that made us laugh.
Yes,
a
it
little
made me
bit.
laugh as well.
But the whole sequence is absolutely gorgeous.
Yes.
It's beautifully shot. There's fire and many, 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 many wordless spells being thrown about here, there, and everywhere.
Yep.
There is an absolutely perfect moment where the camera is flicking to and from Albus and Grindelwald shooting their spells, and it gets quicker and quicker and quicker, so it's like flashes of each
Yes.
face.
Yeah.
And then it suddenly ends on Albus front facing, and he shoots a spell, and it casts and ropes go all around Grindelwald, and he's now tied up, and
Yes.
absolutely perfection, like legit perfection. And then Albus is going to take Grindelwald to Azkaban, but Aberforth wants to kill him, as you do. Then a little battle breaks out between the three of them. Dramatic music continues, and
Amazing dramatic music.
amazing dramatic music continues, and Albus and Aberforth do the whole put the spells together thing like they did in the first movie that we watched.
Yes. Yeah.
Where it was like, what's the actual official term for that?
I can't remember.
Me neither. There's a whole chapter on it in the fourth book.
Yeah.
That looks like Antonio.
It does.
We're just looking on.
I knew, yes. So it's Broad Strokes Productions, who are the same people who did Severus Snape and the Marauders.
Yes, I was looking and ooh. Okay, so they do have the skills. They have the budget.
Yeah. Cute.
I'm definitely gonna have to watch more.
Sorry,
of these
I was
guys.
just looking them up.
Yeah, because at the start
'Cause
it
I knew
does say
the name of them, but I wasn't sure that we'd watched anything else they'd done. But it makes sense that it was Severus Snape and the Marauders, which is
Yes.
still my favourite that we've watched so far.
Yes, definitely one of the best one.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Voldemort one hadn't been dubbed,
Yeah.
I think that would have
Yeah.
been one of my favourites.
Yeah.
But Severus Snape is the top one.
Yes.
Where are we going? Where are we? But anyway, I don't know what that spell is. If you want to say it down in the comments, what it is when two wands put the spells together. But that's what they do. They put the spells together, then shoot the spell at Grindelwald. But then he apparates away and kind of reappears behind them. Petrificus Totalis Aberforth. And then he's just down on the ground as there's a little battle between Albus and himself again. And wait, no, there's not even a battle. He decides to take it physical and not use magic.
Yes, oh yes, there's like some lovely noises of like bones crunching and all sorts and like squelchy, bloody noises. It's great.
It is great, yeah. I did write, I think here, it actually gets physical with Albus, but not in a good way. And then there is a transition back to the fight with the wands. Grindelwald apparates again, and then Albus removes the hex from his brother.
Yes.
And just before Grindelwald tries to kill Aberforth, Albus apparates between them and hits the spell with his own, and they start a little duel. You know, that spell hitting spell thing.
Yeah.
And I think at this point I wrote, Albus really doesn't want to kill him at all.
You can see it in the actor's face. It's like...
Oh yeah, he's a great actor. And it looked as though Grindelwald was actually going to win, because you can tell his heart wasn't in wanting to defeat him. He just didn't want him to kill his brother. So Albus was actually losing at this point because he wasn't trying so much to put all this emotion into the spell. Yeah. He was just like, no. Until it looked like Albus was actually going to die, and then he shoots back, and Grindelwald gets out of the way, and then the spell shoots towards the rocks, and then the rocks blow up, and I was like, literally at this point I was like, well, Ari's dead.
Yeah.
But no, she's fine. It missed her, and she's alive. But both wizards are very worn out. They kind of like sit back on the sand and they're like, like panting, just panting like a little bit. And even now, as Aberforth wants to kill him, Albus still stands in the way. Yeah. And Ariana has made her way from the rocks and to the main part of the beach. And then there is a beautiful moment where Grindelwald screams. He has, you know, like the where he gets all emotional and he's like spitting it.
Yeah.
He's like, look at me, Albus! And Albus turns, and then the camera cuts to this shot where the background is the ocean, and it's like all this like flat line of like calm ocean sky and then some waves, and then that creates like the silhouette of Dumbledore and Grindelwald,
and it's beautiful
on each side of the shot. And then you've got Ariana in the foreground, who's like bigger than them, in the middle of them, and it's all silhouette-y and it all
stunning. Absolutely. We know that Ivy loves a bit of cinematography.
I do.
And it was beautiful.
I'm like all about the cinematography.
I knew as soon as I saw that scene, I was like, oh yeah, Ivy's gonna wax lyrical about that.
And I have. So there is literally no love on Grindelwald's part. Ariana then puts her hands up, and there's like this glow coming from her hands. She screams no, and sends this like wave of magic towards them. They both get knocked off their feet, but at this point their spells haven't left their wand yet, but their wands end up pointing towards Ariana.
Yeah.
And that's how the spell gets to her. She takes both killing curses.
Yes.
At the same time. And
tragic.
She does die. We know this, that she does die at the hands of Dumbledore. That is canon, I believe. It is said in the films. Aberforth says it in the films, I'm sure.
Yes.
And probably the books as well. Yeah, the books as well. But she must have been a very, very powerful witch. All our emotions were so strong.
Yeah.
Kind of like the magic that Lily used on Harry.
Yeah, and like I think we know, uncontrolled magic can usually be stronger.
Yes. Hence, obscurus.
Yes.
Obscurial,
yeah. I feel like, in fact, I know I've read a fan fiction in the past about uncontrolled magic, and it was absolutely incredible. It was an aged up Snarry.
Always.
Where Severus survived, obviously, but has started, because he's now not having to occlude so much, is now starting to struggle with the emotions that he's got, because he's a very emotional guy.
Yeah, he just doesn't show it.
Yeah, so he starts to struggle with it, and that starts to affect his magic, and
Oh, I
And
love
it's
that.
a lovely romantic snarry thing where they have to work out how to help him control his emotions
Oh, that's really sweet.
in between having sex.
Of course. You're like, gotta have that smut in there. It's not a good fanfic
Absolutely.
without
With a
it.
voice like that, absolutely.
Oh, I haven't played that game in a while. How many times take a shot every time Baron says absolutely?
No, I don't think I did it much last week.
Yeah. As I said, like uncontrollable magic, old magic, very powerful.
Yeah.
Fueled kind of like by the desire to be safe, and I would guess the love for a brother. Anyway, Ariana's dead.
She's deed.
Cold on the floor, like, yeah. Aberforth is now like crying, and he's like runs to her, as does Albus, and Albus then looks back to Grindelwald and he apparates away. Grindelwald just played a part and killed his sister, and he's just let him go.
Yeah.
I was like, alright, chill, cool. I was literally, I think I wrote, just letting him go after, he broke his heart and killed his sister. Aberforth then speaks. There is a lovely little bit of speech. I used to bring her here. She said it felt safe. I remember. This is your fault. And then this spits Albus. Did you see which spell? And then Aberforth goes, doesn't matter, it's done. We're going home. Aren't you coming? And then Albus touches Aberforth's shoulder and he apparates them back home. So I wrote down as the end, so Ari took them there to try and make them feel safe.
Yeah.
To make them stop. Which is really, really sad. Because, I mean, we do know that she died, and she died very, very young. And it was at the hands of Dumbledore. But the film fades out to the credits, and comes the sound of the waves from the beach. So there's no like music or anything, it's just the sound effects of the waves. It's very, very peaceful. Beautifully sad.
Yeah.
I'd say. But I love this film.
Another round of applause for Broad Strokes Productions for yet another iconic piece of cinematography.
Definitely, we're definitely gonna have to do more of theirs if they do more. But
by the looks of the website, they do.
Yeah. So I mean, we're coming to the end of the list of the films that we've got written down, but we have got a few more that the website that we've been chatting about didn't say. So
yes,
films that there's one specifically about Bella, which is fun, and then Ash on TikTok.
Yes,
his film.
We're definitely gonna have a look at that one.
That came up with my suggestions after watching this film, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot that was like a thing, and then I was like, this is definitely going down on the list. Yeah. Yes. But yeah, I love this film.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I didn't understand it, but I enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah, it shows the relationship between Albus and Grindelwald, and then his family as well.
Yeah.
Really, really well, and the struggles that he's went through, kind of, and it shows that he might not be evil, but he can still be a bad person.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, like when he was like, oh, I don't. Especially when they were like, oh, I don't care about my family. And
Yeah.
then his sister goes and dies. But Aberforth is in like ruins.
Yeah.
And Albus is like, oh shit, that was my fault.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because he's not a good person. We know Dumbledore isn't a good person, but he's not evil.
Yeah, no, he's not evil. I just think
Some people are shitty.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
And this does kind of give light to maybe how Dumbledore became the person that he became.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Yes. Thanks. I do love a good waffle throw. That's
I love a
staying
good
in.
waffle. If anyone's wondering, Baron's really cold.
Just put a nice big throw on me. So next we're going to talk about the fan fiction. Obviously I took the notes on the fan fiction. It is, and for once I've actually written down the name and the author, because I always forget. It's called The Most Desperate Desires of the Heart by Tony the Kid 505 on Archive of Our Own. It's a short little fic.
Very easy read.
It is a very easy read. Cute. But I didn't want to go too difficult for myself because I don't understand any of it. I wanted something that would be easy to follow for me.
The message that I got from Baron was, I don't know who any of these people are. And I was like, okay, we'll go with that.
Just wait till you hear my notes, man. Right, so we start at a battle.
At a battle.
At a battle. Someone called Tina and Newt are fighting side by side.
Newt Scamander.
Yeah, I figured that one.
Yeah, and Tina Goldstein is the person that Newt meets when he goes to New York for the first time.
Okay.
And so Tina and Queenie are sisters.
Right,
Who
okay.
Queenie is.
I know I've seen people do Queenie on TikTok.
Yeah.
Crystal does Queenie.
Yes.
And Caroline? Does Caroline do
Yes,
Queenie as well?
Caroline does Queenie, yeah. And Brooklyn does Tina.
Okay.
Short black hair.
Okay.
I'll show you a picture, you'll be like,
Okay.
oh yeah.
So I've got quotes here. There's obviously this old battle going around. There's like smoke everywhere. And I've said, it was at that moment that a series of bright red flames split the starlit sky in half, when where the familiar shape of a great crimson and gold bird made its way towards the centre of the ancient temple they'd been fighting in and landed on the shoulder of a tall man.
Fox!
Yes. So I thought that was cute. That's why I made a note of that one. Because
Yeah.
I thought that was like a nice
Love it.
little...
Little
It was
nod.
very visual. I could see
Yes.
it. I could see
yes.
it.
In my mind, I was like, for some reason, in my mind, I had it in my head that were in this like circular battleground, like, you know, like a gladiator stadium.
Yeah, I had
And
a
it was
similar,
really smoky.
but like more Aztec-y, but yeah.
Yeah.
So then we hear a voice. Enough! His deep voice filled the air and Newt felt his body go numb from head to toe.
Oof.
So we find that this is Dumbledore's voice. It is me that you want, let them walk away. So then we meet Grindelwald, I think. Yes,
I
yes
would
it
say
is.
so,
Yes
yeah.
it is. A slow clapping followed by a menacing laugh and Grindelwald's slim figure was swaying through the frozen crowd. I should have expected that from you, arriving last minute, acting like a hero when everyone is weak and worn, only to take the credit. I can already picture it. Albus Dumbledore defeats evil wizard. A cliche, don't you think?
This is perfect.
I really enjoyed the way that was written. I don't know the character, but I thought it was like...
It's very
it felt like a delicious villain.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds like a good line that Johnny Depp would say.
Oh, it does,
'Cause-
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Because it is Johnny Depp who plays Grindelwald.
So then I've written lots of blah blah about the greater good.
It's all about the greater good.
Yeah, so they're discussing that, well, Albus is like, this is all for the greater good, and he's like, no, mate, done. So they're pointing wands at each other, but then Albus grabs Gellert's arm after like lifting up his face. I've got a quote, and apparates them both away. So I've got the quote: Dumbledore lifted the blonde man's face with his fingers, bent down to grab him by the arm, and they both vanished into thin air. And that felt like a really nice, intimate moment.
Yes. Yes.
And I appreciated that.
It's
Again,
lovely, absolutely
characters,
gorgeous.
not a clue, but I do like a nice, intimate moment.
Yes.
So then we go on to chapter 2. They've apparated to a cabin by a lake. It's raining heavily. Just setting the scene for you.
I'm thinking about the cinematography in my head. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. So Grindelwald looks up and Albus is already at the lake with his shirt sleeves rolled up, hands behind his back, looking very calm, and he's like, you can come closer, I'm not going to hurt you. I think that's a quote. I've not written the quote down, but I think that is actually
I think there's something like that in there, yeah.
So he goes to him, and then we do have some quotes. I miss her too, you know, I'll never forgive myself for what happened. The slight drizzle was transforming into what would soon be a powerful storm, and there they were, speaking of the past. Don't say that, please. You saw where the guilt brought us. Leave it. I can't. If I hadn't talked you into making that blood pact, if only we could... ... Hey, you didn't talk me into anything. It was as much my decision as it was yours. His hands were digging into Gellert's forearms, making him face him.
Oof.
So,
I was talking about Ariana.
yeah, I figured that. But what's the blood pact? What have I missed there? Is that a thing? Is that
I
canon?
don't think so.
Okay. I just wasn't sure if it was canon or
I
not.
can't really remember. I don't think it is. I think it's more like a blood brothers kind of situation.
Right. Okay.
But
Yeah.
I don't think it's canon. I think that might be a theory.
Okay, that's fine. So there's like a moment where Albus is struggling to accept who he is. He says that he can't accept who he is. And I've got another quote. Right now, they were not two men fighting on different sides of a meaningless war, but the young, unsuspecting boys who fell in love under this very roof back in 1899.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah, so it's another cute one. They've gone into the cabin because, it's pissing it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, one of them lights a fire.
Yes.
They're both sopping wet, dripping.
I'm dripping.
And it says, there was no... Right, so Gellert says to Albus, there is no war here, Albus. This is our private chapel. Your words, not mine. Nothing can touch us in here. That's what you said. And they hold hands. And it's still raining outside. They're still wet, is what I've written. But that links into almost the final quote of the entire fic.
Uh-huh.
I've made a point of saying that they're wet because this quote I really enjoyed. It was a lovely way to finish it. Fingers linked, one hand resting on his former lover's waist, foreheads touching and hair dripping down their faces, they swayed across the wooden floor. Never uttering a word, secretly recalling memories of the times that they had done this before, shocked at how their bodies still lined up perfectly, as if not but a day had passed since the last time they danced together. The notes died out softly, leaving gently rapping of the rain echoing through the walls. Lifting up his chin, Gellert was met with a dazzling pair of blue eyes he knew only too well. Albus's gaze dropped to his lips, head tilting to the side and hovering centimetres in front of his mouth, waiting for any signs of resistance, as if he would ever turn away.
That is it ended so beautifully.
Yes, and I mean that's all the notes I've got on it because I didn't understand what I was reading.
Yeah.
So it was very cute. It was nice. I liked that little bit of softness.
It kind of contradicts the fan film in the way that there was love there at some point.
Yes.
Whereas in the fan film they were like, "Oh, I never loved you." Like
It's all for the greater good.
yeah, I enjoy that moment of making the bad guys seem a bit more human.
Yes, yeah, because bad guys are usually human.
Mm-hmm. There's usually something going on there that makes them bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what makes them more interesting.
Absolutely, that's why we always play a villain.
Like, oh, I love it. But yeah, it's really cute. I have all the fan theories today because
I don't understand what I'm reading.
Baron doesn't understand it. So I've got here.
I could have found some fan theories and gone, isn't this really exciting? But I wouldn't have meant it because, because I wouldn't have known why it was exciting.
Yeah, so I've got a really long one here, and this one actually made me like, oh, okay. So if you have seen Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald, which is the second one, I have only seen it once, but I remember briefly what happened. So in the film, it revealed that Credence Barebone is actually
Aurelius
Dumbledore. But what if he's actually Albus Dumbledore's son instead? Because it's kind of insinuated. It's not said or anything. It's insinuated that he's Albus's brother.
Right.
However, you've got to look at Credence's age and what timeline it is as well in the film, because it's in the 1920s.
Okay.
So Grindelwald's revelation to Credence. So Credence is a character in the first film as well as the second one. He's an obscurial.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in the first one he's been part of the adoptive system and the foster system.
Right.
And is being adopted by this woman who is all against witches and wizards, and she's very like Bible heavy.
Okay.
And so he's had to suppress...
Like the Dursleys with church.
Yeah, like the Dursleys, but with church. But a bit more strict.
Okay.
So, like, she beats them and punishes them if they show any signs of abnormality. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And Credence is one of the sons, and he's trying to hold his magic in, which in turn transforms him into an obscurial because, it just happens. So, Grindelwald's revelation of Credence seems quite conclusive, and that has led to plenty of fans theorising on how on earth Dumbledore has a secret brother, and who else in the Harry Potter world he is probably related to. On the face of it, this is pretty simple. Albus's parents, Kendra and Percival, either had another son together, or one of them had a child with someone else. However, there are some big questions that this raises, especially as Albus's parents didn't exactly lead long and happy lives. Kendra died in 1899 and Percival was sent to Azkaban around 1890 and died shortly thereafter. So given that Credence / Aurelius was born in 1901 at the earliest, there is no way that Aurelius can be a full brother to Albus.
Yes.
The fan theory is then that Credence is a half brother to Albus and Aberforth, and the son of Percival and Voldemort's grandmother.
Right.
Who is Merope Gaunt's
Yes,
mother.
Yeah.
However, there are some big issues with this theory, starting with the fairly huge assumption that it would be possible for a witch and wizard in Azkaban to be intimate, to carry multiple children to term in prison, and that the Dementors would be happy to see children ferried out of the prison.
Yes.
And from everything that we know of Azkaban and the Dementors, this just doesn't really make any sense.
Fair. Yeah.
Plus, should Merope Gaunt's mother have been in Azkaban, it's highly unlikely that she would have stayed sane enough to be able to have a relationship and 2 children in 1901 and 1907. Nothing's really confirmed or denied. I am reading this off a copy and paste of what I... Instead of being Albus's brother, Credence is much more likely to be Dumbledore's son. A secret love child that only Grindelwald and potentially Aberforth ever knew about. So Dumbledore was born in 1881, thus making him about 19 years old when Credence was born. So it's possible that Dumbledore could have fathered a child around the time and perhaps chose not to be with the young witch after she became pregnant. The prophecy about Credence describes him as a son cruelly banished.
Right, okay.
Which perfectly fits with a child sent back to America after Dumbledore didn't want him. Perhaps the woman on the ship with them was actually his mother, not his aunt. Or was an aunt sent to collect the child after his mother died in childbirth. This is all theory. Yeah. With Credence being born in 1901, it's also probable that Dumbledore's affair with Credence's mother was going on in 1899 at almost the same time that he was with Grindelwald, or as Grindelwald fled at the end of their summer together after Ariana was killed immediately afterward. Dumbledore was in love with Grindelwald, locked in grief over the loss of both of his lover and his family. Did Dumbledore turn elsewhere for affection and comfort? And having done so, did he write to Grindelwald and tell him about the situation? This kind of fits in with the film, the fan film.
Yeah.
In the sense that Grindelwald just left. And Dumbledore's kind of been left with nothing. Some people do strange things during that time, don't they? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Crave affection.
Absolutely,
in
yeah.
any shape or form, and hence...
Everyone deals with things differently, yeah.
That could have been a situation that could have happened.
Yeah.
That was the end of that fan theory. So Credence could potentially be Dumbledore's son.
How do we feel about that? Because I don't know who he is, so
Here there was hints that he was actually under Strange.
Oh.
As well, but there's also theories that Grindelwald could be lying to Credence because it's Grindelwald who told Credence who he is.
Right.
Because I think in the film Grindelwald is after a following and he gets to Credence and he's like singing this damaged young boy who is an obscurial and is after some form of validation in life. So it could potentially be that Grindelwald's lying to him. However, if we're going by what Grindelwald's saying is true, then I'm here for it. I'm more likely to incline that he's a son rather than a brother.
Cool.
But the theory that he's a half-brother makes sense as well if it's Dumbledore's father who... His father's side rather than his mother's side, because his mother died in 99. It's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
It is an interesting one. It does leave much to the imagination.
Yeah.
But I do like the theory that it could possibly be Lestrange, because he is very, like, gothy, like...
Is he?
Yeah, he's like the 1920s Snape.
Cute.
But with a bowl cut.
Oh. You ruined it for me.
Sorry. So I've got a second one here, which is Dumbledore's reluctance to confront Grindelwald stemmed from the wizard's own struggles with his darker side.
Okay,
So-
that kind of links
Yeah.
to the fan film.
It does, yeah. It is possible that Dumbledore feared being attracted to his old ways and joining Grindelwald's pursuits. Perhaps he chose to stall his fight with Grindelwald until he controlled his thirst for power.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Sin is attractive.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah. So, we're always attracted to things that we shouldn't be attracted to.
Yeah.
So that would make sense, yeah.
I think it makes a lot of sense. And, like, there's always, like, that trope within, like, rom-coms especially, where it's like, you're like the bad guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Plus, evil's hot.
Evil is hot. Evil is hot. That's why the Death Eaters are hot. That's why we do it. That's why we do it. My potion daddy, leather daddy Snape is going down very well because it's evil and hot.
This.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a third one as well. This is the third and final one. Which is, so Grindelwald was a seer.
Right.
And his abilities played a huge role in his relationship with Dumbledore.
Okay.
So it's confirmed that Dumbledore had feelings for Grindelwald, but we don't know for sure that if the feelings were reciprocated. Which
So,
ties in.
are we about to say that Grindelwald knew that Dumbledore liked him and used that?
Yes, so it's possible that Grindelwald realised that Dumbledore could defeat him and in turn sort out a friendship. Perhaps he manipulated the eventual Hogwarts headmaster in hoping to recruit him and eliminate a potential threat, which is why Grindelwald avoided confronting Dumbledore later in life.
Interesting.
But there was also another fan theory on the website that I didn't write down, that obviously we see that Grindelwald is in Azkaban in the Deathly Hallows, because Voldemort goes and sees... Is it? Yeah, the first one. Voldemort goes and sees him, and Grindelwald's like, I'm not telling you where Dumbledore's buried. And he didn't want to say because he wanted to make sure that Dumbledore still had a tomb.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, even though Voldemort fully found
Yeah,
the tomb.
of course.
But, I mean, he didn't totally destroy it.
No.
I mean, he did, but...
I mean, there's that beautiful shot, isn't there,
It's
where he, like, lifts the wand and it's
gorgeous.
Stunning.
Loved how he's buried on a little island. It's cute. But yeah, that's all I have.
So that was this episode, and I'm really excited for the next one because it's Star Wars versus Harry Potter. And I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Star Wars.
I am.
I know you are. But I'm excited for this crossover possibility, and like, I mean, I'm a huge sci-fi fan, so
Yeah.
I'm interested. I'm really excited to start looking for fan fictions for that.
I'm so excited. Mainly to watch, because I've been going through Star Wars one by one, and I'm currently on to the last one, so episode 9. So I'm going to be watching that this week, I think.
I was always a Star Trek fan and never a Star Wars fan.
Oh.
I can cope with Star Wars. Like,
Yeah.
I can perfectly accept them, but I would always much rather watch Star Trek.
I was a Star Wars fan before Harry Potter, obviously because I'm young. Because I don't know how old I was I wasn't even born when the first one came out. But then I was introduced to it at a young age, and I used to go around and tell people that I was going to grow up to be a Jedi.
Cute.
Yeah, so I'll leave a fun story for next week's podcast.
Yes. So thank you for listening.
We will see you guys in 2 weeks' time.
Yes.
Please
like and subscribe and share.
Share it all, comment, let us know if you have any theories.
If you have any fan fictions you want us to read, because I'm always happy to read a fan fiction that someone sends me. Someone sent one to me actually this week on TikTok. I haven't read it yet, but it's a snanger. But I will be reading it, so
Yeah, and I think that by this time next week as well, we will have our cast for a Drag Malfoy cabaret.
yes, we will.
So if you haven't seen already on both TikTok and our Instagrams, we are hosting a cabaret show called A Very Potter Cabaret, and it's a charity show. It's all ticketed, so all the proceeds go to Gendered Intelligence, which is a trans charity in the UK helping trans youth ages 8 to 25.
Yes, absolutely, because fuck JK.
We do not stand her in this household.
No, so we want to give a big fuck you to all of her irrelevant opinions, and support our trans siblings in the process.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And I think we're going to raise a lot of money.
I hope so.
I think
hope
so. With the ticket prices.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't even decided on the ticket price, but with it being ticketed, there's
Yeah.
definite money going into
Yes,
it.
definitely.
Yeah. So, yeah, you'll find out some more information about that over the next week or so.
Yeah.
There'll be a poster coming out somewhere where you can buy tickets, and it will be great. So, see you guys in like 2 weeks' time.
See you later. Bye.
Bye!